We're here on the roof garden of the INVESTEC Bank headquarters in the epicenter of the Sandton Business District, and it's always been one of my dreams to have a couple of African zebra roaming on the lawn over here. I'm not quite sure what the INVESTEC management are going to say about that, but let's talk about an event that took place about 12,000 kilometers away from here on EPSOM Downs, the INVESTEC Derby Festival of Racing, which took place on the Friday and the Saturday, the first week of June. We know a guy called Neil Maurice who's an absolutely outstanding tipster. We're not going to talk to Neil about his predictions as far as the horses are concerned, but to speak to him about the weather, the very famous English weatherman, and how they got it completely wrong for INVESTEC Derby Day.
As you can see, the weather here just spectacularly great, really, for the first day of the INVESTEC Derby and Oaks meeting. Great for the racecourse executive, great for INVESTEC. We're going to have a level playing field here with regard to the going. Any juice, I think, will have been eradicated, and good ground for the start of the meeting. Perfect.
Well, it hasn't been like that throughout the week. Having spoken to telephonically in Nottingham the other day, it was pretty darn miserable. But the forecast for today is that maybe we'll get a bit of rain later on, but it doesn't look good for tomorrow. I refuse to believe that. I believe the INVESTEC gods are very powerful.
Well, you got it absolutely right regarding today, Andrew, because you said, don't worry about Ladies' Day, we'll have a decent day and it'll be fine. But tomorrow, anything could happen. I mean, anything from a thunderstorm to a hurricane, I don't know. They're talking about sleet, it could be anything. So, you know the English weather, we can never know what's coming next. So everyone's got our fingers crossed that the forecasts are completely wrong, of course, because it would be great if we could continue as we've started today.
And they're off and racing. Jump away for the Woodcut. Out well, Baitha Alga in company with Burton Wood. They're the first two to show. Baitha Alga trying to hunt down the leader, and he's beginning to close down in the centre for Frankie Dettori. Ballymore Castle is thundering out of the pack to give chase. Baitha Alga got first run over Ballymore Castle and will score. Frankie Dettori on Derby Day wins the INVESTEC Woodcut. Baitha Alga beat Ballymore Castle.
I got it right.
You know, these Jockeys Internationals are very special, but they're not anywhere near as special as they could be if you're not coming back to South Africa. What are the chances, Frankie?
Well, I promised Tex that I will come, and if I don't come, I'll kick my butt.
I can promise you, we miss you. We love you coming to South Africa. We'll be holding thumbs for you, and as always, thank you so much for giving us of your time.
Nice to talk to you. Hello to all my fans in South Africa.
Well, let's hope Frankie Dettori is back in South Africa sooner than later. And now he's got to hurry to catch a helicopter to another meeting. And of course, Mr. Derby's seen arriving, Mr. Kieran Fallon himself. Helicopters arrive with regular monotony, bringing in dignitaries and jockeys alike. It really was like a mini airport as the INVESTEC flag plummeted from the heavens to land on cue on the racetrack. This was succeeded by the largest Union Jack ever to exit a helicopter, and then we had an opportunity to speak to the Managing Director of INVESTEC Group, Mr. Bernard Cantor.
Now, it was not run every year because they stopped for 4 years during the First World War and 5 years during the Second World War. So it's the 225th running of the Derby. But here's something more fascinating. The Oaks, they never stopped, and it started a year before. So it is the 235th running of the INVESTEC Oaks. So for any of you who think that we haven't been around that long, the INVESTEC Oaks have been around for 235 years.
You know, Andrew, it's undescribable, really. You know, I'm so fortunate to be involved with Bernard Cantor and his whole team. You know, I've been here from the beginning of the INVESTEC sponsorship, and to come back here, you know, to see the old faces and everything, it's just fantastic for them. What a difference they've made, you know, to this meeting. They stamped their mark here, and it is just fantastic, you know, for all of us in South Africa. You know, we should be very proud of Bernard Cantor and INVESTEC.
How did INVESTEC get involved in the Derby? It is quite amazing, and I'm sure they're very clever businessmen. They probably didn't pay enough money for it. It's a wonderful event. It goes worldwide. I couldn't applaud them enough, and they put on a fantastic event.
Raymond van Niekerk has seriously pulled out all the stops here. That big island and the traffic outside there, to these wonderful stands with all these banners flying, and everywhere you look, there's these, and they raised up the new profiles, the invitations on the cards, just amazing stuff. I think everybody in the world needs to learn how to brand a race meeting from INVESTEC, seriously.
You know, we have to grow into it. It's way above what we can deliver at the moment. So the reputation and image is fantastic. And to all potential sponsors, I'll say it again, there is no better way to get your name across than through a piece of history. And there are lots of those around, whether it be of football, whether it be racing, whatever. History gives you credibility and it gives you a firm foundation and confidence. I think people feel confident when you sponsor something like the Derby. So I would say to all of them that they need to get their act together and find something special to sponsor.
But it is Tagruda who's moved through the lead. Tarfasha, Volume in Chiller running a massive race, trying to thread the needle. Tagruda it is who leads with over a furlong to go by a couple of legs from Volume. Tarfasha in Chiller out of luck. Itimal stays on, but this at the moment is a one filly race, and that one filly is Tagruda, unbeaten, and Tagruda makes it 3 out of 3 and wins the INVESTEC Oaks. Tight for second place. Volume Tarfasha in Chiller was the unlucky horse on their heels.
Seeing you standing on the stage yesterday with Bernard Cantor was an extremely proud moment for you and, of course, for all the followers and the naysayers of the form of the Pretty Polly. But she put them to sleep in no uncertain terms.
Yeah, she's a very good filly. She's beautifully balanced and, you know, bred by a really good stud farm. And the way she picked up at the end and went away was a pleasure to watch. She had a nasty bump coming down the hill, got put onto a wrong leg, the off 4, but the jockey managed to pull it a good job, got her back on an even keel. So really thrilled with her, and hopefully she's a filly with an upward profile.
You know, I didn't believe that I'd ever get the opportunity so soon after it transpired, that your vision and your dream of having the winner's enclosure from Epsom Downs transposed to Kenilworth Racecourse. That dream has become reality, and it has been an unequivocal success, and we'd like to congratulate you for executing this magnificent task.
Well, that's the start of it. Look, there's some big changes going into the Western Cape, and I must say, you know, the Western Cape board has given me virtually carte blanche to redevelop racing in the Western Cape. So we've put a extensive plan together, which you will see in the near future, and you know, I hope to change the face of racing in the Western Cape. I think that some exciting things that we're looking at in changing the race courses, and yeah, well, all that I can say is I'm going to put my head down and do it and forget about all the naysayers.
As promised, we're back here at Epsom Downs with Chris Gerber, a man who's put so much money into the game. Of course, he's had a lot of seconds and thirds during the running of the Triple Crown. But at the end of the day, it's to compete that is so important. To have a ticket to be here at Epsom Downs is just so special, Chris.
Well, look, Andrew, there's no doubt this is the best race in the world. I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and there's absolutely no doubt. To be here with 140,000 people, it gives you goosebumps. There's absolutely no doubt. And I think INVESTEC can be very proud to sponsor a race of this magnitude and to put on such a good show. I mean, it is just world class from when you walk in to when you leave in the evenings. I mean, unbelievable, great to be here. And obviously, we all want to compete. As a South African, you're not going to run it in the Oaks or the Derby. But to meet the caliber of these horses in a place like Dubai or maybe in the Breeders' Cup, that is definitely a possibility. And our horses are definitely good enough to do that. I mean, the horses that are going to buy, I know one of mine won again today. He's won 3 in a row for his horse, a 2-year-old.
Were you the guy that they named the horse after at the Forester's Arms with the beers above your head?
No, that's Rennie. I just sneak.
Rennie
Yeah, I sneak in under everyone's elbows. Rennie's got the problem with the crowds. With the crowds, yeah. Exactly. So, that's what we dream about.
During INVESTEC Derby Day, due to some fantastic technology, we were able to see the Rising Sun Gold Challenge, which took place at Clarewood Park, one of South Africa's most famous Grade 1 weight for age 1600 metre contests. And all of Captain Noir, Beach Beauty and Yorker were hoping to enhance their position as far as the Vodacom Durban July was concerned, or not. But few people would have thought that King of Pain, the son of Gray's Inn, would have been victorious on this fantastic day. Incredibly well ridden by Bernard Faydurb. He dictated the pace, and I have to say in retrospect that he rode the other jockeys to sleep. We had an opportunity to speak to his trainer Joey Ramsden, who was on hand at Epsom Downs, and thereafter one of his co-owners, Brian Finch.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andrew. We always thought he was a good Grade 1 horse, and just things haven't fallen his sort of way. They didn't fall his way this year. He got a bit of a foot injury, and that's why he hadn't had a run going into it. But we're fortunate enough to have a great team behind us down there in Durban, have a treadmill, and that was really part of what really helped him. And a stunning ride from Bernard Fade Herb. But just so happy for all the partners, Wayne and Brian and Darmish and Melissa. It's just wonderful.
You know, I remember it so clearly, speaking to you at Johannesburg International Airport. You had sacrificed Michael de Kock's 50th birthday to go back for that very special race, the Rag Race Day, which he won, and it was poetic justice. And as a consequence of that, he's gained his confidence, and he's now in the Vodacom Durban July.
Yeah, it's smashing. Yeah, I'm not sure what the handicapper is going to make of the race and where we come in. It's going to seem rather farcical, isn't it, to go from being number 35 in running to get in to being top weight. So we'll just have to wait and see where it ends up and how it all happens.
Andrew, you have no idea how we were screaming upstairs, and I was standing next to Joey, watching the race on the screen, and we went to the front, which is not part of the plan. And Joey said to me, "What's Bernard doing?" And then we watched him, and he was traveling so comfortably. And as they came into the straight, we all started shouting, "Go King!" And it got louder and louder and louder and louder. It was just the most magnificent thing. And hey, for me and Kathy, it's our first Grade 1 winner. We've been in racing 16, 17 years. So trust me, we were thrilled. It's just been a blast.
Brian Fitch talking to us about his victory with King of Pain. And remember that the whole thing unfolds on Vodacom Durban July Day, where the son of Dynasty Legislate will try to emulate the feat of his great father, as will this horse called King of Pain, who will be hoping to follow in the footsteps of his great father, Grays Inn.
The great thing about the race today is, of course, the thunderstorm we had about 10 o'clock, whether it's changed the ground.
You call that a thunderstorm?
Well, it was
a little
bad.
drizzle.
Little drizzle. What do you know? What happened
South
in South
Africans,
Africa?
we used to thunderstorms at Joburg.
No, we thought the sun always shone out, and that's all the pictures we have and all that kind of thing. So, well, maybe you have it, but it was a pretty thick storm coming down. Hasn't really altered the ground. It's still good, so I'm hoping all horses go on it. Australia needs top of the ground. But he was third in the Kipco 2,000 guineas. That's classic form. No other horse in the race today would have won that 2,000 guineas. None of them. He'll stay the extra half mile by Galileo out of a Ouija board. Galileo won the Derby, a Ouija board won the Oaks, so the stamina's not a problem. But it's Australia is the one. The ground's right for it. But can anyone who hates Australia, who loathes them and despises them, I never thought I would ever hear myself saying, "Come on, Australia!" Oh.
It's our channel, pressed by Kingfisher, who've extended away, passing the 3. Kingston Hill, best place at the Principals. In third place, Australia coming down the centre. Then True Story, Arad comes next. Behind these, Romsdale and Ebanoran as they make their way now up the home straight. And it's Australia who moves through with Kingston Hill. These two forge on in the INVESTEC Derby. They go away. Arad has moved through to dispute third place with Romsdale. Then Ebanoran. They race now down with a furlong to go. It's Australia who is out in front. Kingston Hill in second place, and it is Australia forging clear by a length or so. Kingston Hill is trying to rally. It was written in the stars, a day of destiny, as Australia follows in her parents' footsteps and wins an Epsom Classic.
The list of superlatives and accolades was long and illustrious, but suffice to say that it was Coolmore's 4th consecutive victory in the race. It was Aidan O'Brien's 3rd consecutive victory, and Joseph O'Brien winning the race for the 2nd time at just the tender age of 20. But for Lord Derby, breeding the winner is the real pinnacle of his breeding career. His ancestor founded the race and gave it his name. The world's most famous flat race commemorates the 12th Earl of Derby, and it was the 19th holder of the title who 10 years earlier on, from seeing Ouija board carry his colours to victory in the Oaks, watched her son, sold for 525,000 guineas as a yearling, win the INVESTEC Derby, sporting the silks of Derek Smith.